the mystery of the planet with two suns. Imagine a planet where the sky doesn't have just one sun, but two. Each sun pours its light from a different direction. This planet is always bathed in light. Morning and evening have no meaning here. Every moment feels like daytime. The sky is always washed in golden light. There's no moon, no stars. The inhabitants don't know darkness nor the peace of night. Sleep comes only out of necessity when the body grows tired. Even then, it is never fully restful because while the body may need rest, the mind is disturbed by the constant brightness. This planet is beautiful and full of life, but its greatest challenge is the absence of night. On Earth, humans rest when the sun sets, counting stars or gazing at the moon. Here, the people are unaware of these experiences. For them, night is nothing more than a concept, a fantasy that never becomes reality. This planet is unlike any human civilization. Its people have learned to live in this eternal cycle of daylight. Their culture, their art, their stories all revolve around light. Yet in the quiet corners of their hearts, everyone wonders, will we ever see darkness? Life under two suns. Life on this planet is mesmerizing. When both suns shine in the sky, the environment is bathed in golden and white light. Everywhere glimmers, everywhere shines. Plants grow rapidly because the light never ends. Fields remain green. Crops ripen faster, and rivers and lakes glitter like gold under the sun's rays. Yet, constant daylight comes with its drawbacks. The inhabitants never see stars. For them, the galaxy remains a mystery. When children hear stories of distant worlds where the sky turns dark at night, stars twinkle and the moon glows, they feel a strange curiosity stirring inside them. The dual suns also shape the planet's climate. There is no concept of cool air here, only warmth and brightness. People can roam freely during the day, but their bodies have adapted to the perpetual light. Their eyes don't tire in the bright rays, and their skin has grown accustomed to constant heat. Still, one thing troubles them: the lack of restful sleep and true peace. On Earth, the body naturally slows and rests when night falls. Here, this instinct does not occur. People rely on artificial darkness to sleep: thick curtains, cave-like homes, or special glasses. But it is never complete. They have never experienced real night. Even their art and culture reflect this absence. Paintings often depict imagined darkness, while stories describe night as a mysterious place of calm, cool air, and a sky filled with shining stars. They know they have never truly seen this, yet their hearts long for it. This planet is as beautiful as it is incomplete. Light is its strength, but it is also its greatest weakness. On this planet, endless daylight has made life both easier and harder. Crops grow quickly, but the soil never cools down, so many plants don't survive long. Rivers and lakes stay warm, causing many aquatic creatures to perish. The seas are constantly evaporating, and thick clouds often hover in the sky. The real challenge for the inhabitants is rest and mental peace. Without night, sleep is incomplete. Children are constantly restless, and the elderly tire quickly. Doctors have even named it the endless light syndrome. Its effects show slowly but steadily. People may appear strong on the outside, but inside they are exhausted. The society of this planet has tried many solutions. They created artificial nights, cities with enormous canopies stretched above to block the sunlight. Some people built underground homes where darkness could be found. Yet none of this compares to a natural night. True night is not just darkness. It brings cool air, a sky full of stars, and a unique rhythm of peace. Gradually, a question began to stir in people's minds. Will we ever truly see darkness? Will we ever experience the stars? The beginning of the quest for night. This question sparked a new search. Some brave souls began to believe that darkness must exist in some form, perhaps at the far edge of the planet in a cave or some mysterious hidden place. They started studying the sky, hoping to find a moment when the two suns' light might briefly wane, creating even a hint of darkness. But as one sun began to set, the other rose. There was no chance for night. Still, the search continued. Some went to distant hills and found slightly dimmer light, though never true night. Stories began to be told to children, tales that one day a path would be found leading to real night, and thus began the planet's quest for night, a search not only of science but of hope and faith. The story took a turn when a traveler arrived on this planet. He was not from there, he had come from beyond. His clothing, his face, his eyes, everything was different. The inhabitants were astonished when they saw him. He said that he came from worlds where the sun sets and night exists, where the sky is dark and stars twinkle. The people were stunned. To them it sounded like magic. They wondered, could there really be a world where daylight ends? The traveler said, "Darkness is not something to fear. Darkness is peace. It is the place where the soul rests and dreams are born." His words touched the hearts of the people, but the question remained, could true darkness ever come to this sunlit world? The secret of bringing darkness. The traveler explained that darkness wouldn't come by extinguishing the suns. Instead, it was hidden within themselves and their science. He said that if they could control the light of their two suns, they could create an artificial night. He showed them how, with giant mirrors and curtains, a portion of the sky could be blocked to create darkness. It wasn't easy, but it was possible. The people were amazed. For the first time, they saw a small patch of darkness in their sky. It lasted only a few minutes, but in that moment they felt something they had never experienced: peace, coolness, and a strange relief. Children saw darkness for the first time and shouted with joy. Tears came to the eyes of the elders, and everyone realized that darkness was not a fear, it was a blessing. That tiny patch of darkness changed the lives of the people. They celebrated it like a festival. The place where darkness had first appeared became a gathering spot. People sang songs, told stories, and closed their eyes to feel that peacefulness. It was the first day in the planet's history when people realized that darkness could also be a beautiful experience. They named that day the first night. Now they wanted this experience to last longer than a few minutes. They wanted their world to have a balance of day and night. But not everyone was happy with this change. Some believed that continuous daylight defined their identity. They felt that the two suns were what made them special. They feared that if darkness arrived, their gods would be displeased. These people tried to prevent the darkness. They called the traveler a trickster and warned that bringing night could be dangerous for their world. Society split into two factions, one that welcomed darkness and another that saw it as a threat. The quest for lasting darkness. Still, the supporters of darkness kept moving forward. They built giant mirrors, studied the planet's orbit, and gradually figured out how to cover larger areas. Their efforts paid off. One day, they created several hours of darkness. That night, people saw the stars for the first time. Countless lights scattered across the sky. Children asked, "What are these?" The traveler replied, "These are other suns, other skies, and around each sun there could be planets just like yours." It was the greatest event in the history of the planet. The truth revealed, but as the experiment continued, a new truth became clear. The traveler explained that darkness was not just beautiful, it was necessary. Without night, their bodies were gradually weakening. Lack of proper sleep endangered the future of their species. The people understood that darkness was not merely a desire, it was a basic requirement for life. They decided to change their world. Even in a planet with two suns, they would create night for themselves, for their children, and for their future. Gradually, the people who embraced darkness began to create their own culture. They celebrated the first night festivals. People would sit in the dark, counting stars, playing music, and telling stories. For the children, it was the greatest excitement as dreams began to come to them. Art and literature also began to change. Where paintings had once focused entirely on the sun and light, they now depicted stars and the moon. Poems began to speak of the peace of night for the first time. People realized that darkness was not merely the absence of light, it was a gateway to a new world. Gradually, the civilization split into two factions. The day civilization, those who still believed that life belonged only in light. The night civilization, those who had embraced darkness. Tensions between the two grew. The final struggle leaders of the day. Civilization declared that bringing night was an insult to their gods. They attacked the night civilization, destroying their mirrors and devices. But the supporters of night refused to give up. They fought to protect darkness. This was not merely a struggle for power, it was a fight for life and existence. Amid the conflict, the traveler tried to reason with both sides. He said, "Light and darkness are both necessary. Life is incomplete with only light, and it will also be incomplete with only darkness. Balance is the true strength." Slowly, people began to understand. They realized they had been living in an incomplete world for centuries. By accepting both night and day, their future could be secure. In the end, both civilizations reached an agreement. Some parts of the planet would remain in light while others would be in darkness. For the first time, day and night were balanced on their world. When the balance of day and night arrived for the first time, the entire civilization breathed a sigh of relief. People who had lived only in light for thousands of years finally understood how crucial balance is for life. The night civilization built giant mirrors and artificial structures to maintain regular periods of darkness. People would gather to watch the stars. Children were told stories of constellations, and elders could sleep peacefully. The day civilization also learned that night was not their enemy. They maintained the light in their regions to preserve their identity. Over time, the two civilizations began learning from each other. Day people started coming to the night areas to rest, while night people went to the light areas for work and farming. The traveler who had taught them this wisdom disappeared quietly one day. No one saw where he went, but his words remained in their hearts forever. Balance is life. This transformation changed the entire civilization. Art, science, and culture reached new heights. Now their stories celebrated not only light, but also the mysterious beauty of darkness. Children grew up experiencing both worlds, the energy of the day and the peace of the night. People realized that when they had only light, they were incomplete. But now, with both day and night, they were whole. Years later, scientists made a startling discovery. They found that the planet's second sun was slowly losing its light and would eventually burn out. At first, people were afraid. But then they remembered the travelers' words. They understood that even if one sun went out, they now possessed the knowledge of balance. They knew how to sustain life between darkness and light. And so the inhabitants of the dual sun planet were no longer creatures living only in light. They had become a balanced civilization, enriched by both darkness and light. This story is not just about one planet, it is our story. Living always in light is as incomplete as living always in darkness. Life is complete only when we embrace both, the energy of the day and the peace of the night.